Stugotz here. Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated, but there is a better, simpler way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to live events. With SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps. SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I found to shop for tickets. I could be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. SeatGeek saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports and concerts to comedy and theater. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code Le Batard today. That's LEBATARD. That's promo code Le Batard for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Hey, my name's Jack. I'm the founder and former editor-in-chief of Crack.com and the host of the new How Stuff Works comedic news and pop culture podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist. Our goal is to tell you about the ideas that are out there changing the world. We talk politics and news, but we also cover supermarket tabloids, which might seem stupid, but millions of people pass those every day, and they absorb the ideas on the cover whether they want to or not. We also take movies pretty seriously because when we picture something that we haven't experienced, you generally use movies. You probably picture Terminator 2 when picturing a nuclear explosion, even though that's not actually what they'd look like. Anyways, we're trying to take the temperature of what's affecting the national shared consciousness, which sounds a little more hippie-ish than we actually are. But fair warning, guys, some of the content can get a little edgy, so not for young ears, but trust us, it's all in good fun. So go to Apple Podcasts and listen and subscribe to The Daily Zeitgeist. It's very good, is our catchphrase. We're kind of workshopping it.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Monday Night Football, Jay Cutler and the Dolphins travel to Carolina to play Cam Newton and the Panthers, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN and simulcast in Spanish on ESPN2. After finally winning a World Series ring, Carlos Beltran has penned a goodbye letter to his fans in the Players' Tribune announcing his retirement. And finally, Nigeria is an international Scrabble powerhouse, currently home to 29 of the top 100 English-language Scrabble players in the world. Smooth plays call for smooth bourbon. Larceny Bourbon is made with more wheat for a smoother taste. Our master distiller hand selects only the finest barrels for a true small batch bourbon. Get caught in the act with Larceny Bourbon. Think wisely, drink wisely. Larceny Bourbon, Bardstown, Kentucky, 46% alcohol by volume. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So over the last 2 weeks in prime time, the University of Miami has announced itself as a college football power again. They are now ranked number 2 in the country, and they have some swagger.
Yep.
Now, the rules changed the last time the University of Miami had swagger. They have bleached college football. They have made it antiseptic. There is not a lot of personality. But with that turnover chain, and furthermore, during that game, Miami's tiny receiver, Berrios, caught a touchdown pass, and quietly and without penalty, not the backflips that the guys used to do and before they changed all the rules, he did a perp trot back to the sideline, put his hands behind his back as if a convict. There aren't very many places in college football where that's not getting flagged, where that's not getting noticed, where that's not getting penalized and sermonized about. But Miami's got some attitude. And even if you believe that Miami will lose in the next 2 weeks or is not ready for Clemson or doesn't belong in the conversation with the Final Four, all opinions that you're entitled to, even if you believe all that, though, this is the step. That game is the step that needs to be taken. You're on television, everybody's watching. You're doing chain, you have swag. That is the thing that needs to happen in order for the dominoes to fall with a young team to create sustained winning where you are now going to be where FSU has been for the last 10 years. That's how that happens.
Right.
Miami and FSU have never been good at the same time in that conference. It's not something that's ever been so. Miami, before that game, had not been in the ACC anything other than Vatek or NC State or North Carolina. They'd never made the final game. Now they're going to make the final game. And all the things that happened Saturday night, even if you don't believe the U was back for good, all the things that happened Saturday night are the things that needed to happen, where you trample that team that way.
Played out perfectly for the Canes.
You look like you're having that much fun on the sidelines. You are trampling them in a way that makes the Notre Dame quarterback look scared.
Right.
And then get benched in a way that is Brian Kelly saying, I don't trust the guy I've trusted all season because I can now not trust the offensive line that has carried us all season. You bury that team that way with that many people watching, with chains and perp walks. Like, that's how you get momentum on getting those recruits that everybody wants. And Rick's young people are very good, and his recruiting classes have been very good.
It looked like such a cool, fun place, environment to be at. It really did. It looked like a cool, for young people, if they're sitting there watching that, they're like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. That place, that stadium, that turnover chain, that team, that coach, their defensive coordinator, all of that looks like a lot of fun. I am interested, because you brought this up a couple of times, because I think college football needs some attitude. They certainly need the Hurricanes. That was evident. The game was a monster, drew a monster rating. But they need some attitude, because some of those teams, most of those teams up top, are pretty boring teams. Alabama's boring. Ohio State's kind of boring. Baker Mayfield's not. He's got some swag. He's got some attitude. So I love what Miami did. But I am interested when the fans start turning on Miami nationally, because I think a lot of people are rooting for Miami over the weekend, and it's going to be interesting to see when they stop rooting for Miami.
Johnny Manziel was fun. College football, I'm telling you, those Miami teams are the reason the rules are all different now in college football. Jimmy Johnson used to allow those guys to enjoy themselves. Now you've got a suffocation with coaches, a suffocation.
Right.
Where Nick Saban's the model, and your guys are going to behave and represent sportsmanship. They're going to represent academia, going to represent scholarship, gentlemen. And Miami wasn't that, and the rules were changed to prevent that from ever being so. To be honest with you, if we're going deep into this, the chain is about the only thing from those overtly black Miami teams that is allowed in 2017. Those Miami teams were unique because they were black, defiant, and loud, and the only thing from that era that's allowed to pass into this antiseptic version of college football is, hey, costume jewelry. Like, you're not actually allowing what was that team, which was an urban power line, an electrical current of urban. You're not, the only thing that's linked to it is that chain. Like, you're not actually allowing access to everything those teams were, which were, I mean, they were those teams.
So are you saying there's less of a chance that people will start maybe turning on Miami?
No, because this team is still black. This team is still black, and the people doing ravaging on defense are still black, and there will be a turning on that. Showboaty black guy rarely gets embraced in sports, anywhere, professional, college, anywhere. But college makes it even more suffocating, right? Because it's sort of like, hey, you're unpaid labor, appreciate the education.
It won't turn until they cease being the lovable, fun underdog. If they start having a run like Alabama, people will hate them, and all the things that we're having fun with now might be looked nationally as something different.
But I just find interesting the idea that Miami is trying through a chain to access that time, but only in the ways that are most comfortable. Because those Miami teams were viewed as dangerous, threatening. This is costume jewelry for now. But if you wear that chain and you place it with those teams, dangerous, threatening, running college football, urinating on sportsmanship, getting the rules on sportsmanship changed, you slap a chain on that, that's not going to quite feel like the costume jewelry fun that these kids are having 4 straight games because they got 4 straight turnovers, and nobody's ever done that in the history of college football. against top-ranked power team.
But can it ever get back to that, even if Miami is truly back? And
they've scrubbed it out of the sport. No, it can't ever be that. But that's what I'm saying. This is the only access you have. It's the only portal. It'll never be that again. It'll never be what it was in the 80s and 90s because they changed all the rules to make sure it wouldn't be so.
Who's the guy where if he put that chain on in the 80s or 90s where fans would get the angriest? I was going to say Michael Irvin, but he can't. He's on offense. But imagine Michael Irvin.
No, but Michael Irvin was wearing that chain to games.
Pay that man his money.
I'm not even making that up.
I know, it's funny.
That's not a joke. I mean, Michael Irvin was in trouble with the law, and he went to the courtroom with a fur and a fedora, and he's like, people were saying, what are you dressed like that for? Shouldn't dress like that. And he's like, the way you guys want me to dress, that's not my constituents. Roy and Chris are going to become fathers very, very soon. Enjoy your sleep now, boys. You guys will enjoy it even more, though, sleeping on a Lisa mattress. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, I love it. Most comfortable mattress I've ever slept on. You don't believe me? Well, how about Michael Phelps, Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins, Richard Sherman? They're all sleeping on a Lisa mattress. We're talking about pros and Olympians who could literally choose any mattress, and they chose Lisa just like me. Why? Because Lisa is dangerously comfortable. Order your Lisa mattress. They'll build it, box it, and ship it to your door to enjoy 100 nights risk-free. Go to leesa.com/Dan and use promo code Dan to save even more. Leesa.com/Dan. That's leesa.com/Dan. Promo code Dan.
Buddy, this is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of the show, you can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Le Batard Show on demand in the ESPN app, plus our Miami-only hour that airs before the show, and now you can subscribe to our Best of podcast. It's all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app. Show her how thankful you are this holiday season with beautiful bouquets from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 24 multicolored roses for just $24. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
Many of you are objecting here to that last segment. All I will tell you is that I lived those Miami years. It shaped a lot of the viewpoints that I have today. I remember how uncomfortable that team made the administration as the administration trafficked in making all the profit from that team. I remember how Howard Schnellenberger had to recruit areas that nobody else was recruiting in order to open up the inner cities out here to educational advantages. So you may object to what it is that I'm saying, but I lived it, and I saw the NCAA, by rule, get rid of as much of it as it could. And now Alabama is run by Nick Saban. But back then, those renegade programs were tacitly approved by the coaching staffs. And so now you've got Miami back in the game. And you had last week Feinbaum talking about Thug U.
Right.
That was last week.
Yes. Well, I think what he was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Cane fans are always kind of yearning for those kind of days rather than appreciating what Mark Richt has put together here.
Enjoy this time because this is good stuff.
Right.
80s was bad stuff.
Yes. Bad. Well, that's how that one plays out.
White guys.
Were you singing that all weekend? Because
all weekend.
I was. I can't get that out of my head. You can't play it enough.
White guys.
What was the weekend like for you guys? Guillermo had a bunch of College Game Day signs, 4 total. Mike Ryan spent the weekend getting drunk with Marty Smith. You guys were all around College Game Day, the highest-rated College Game Day of the year.
I wouldn't say getting drunk with Marty Smith. Getting drunk around Marty Smith. It's a legit party around that dude. It's crazy. Everyone loves that dude.
It's really unusual. I can't say I've seen a lot of it. I can't think of anyone like that at ESPN. He's just the idea. It's just ridiculous that someone would be able to carve out a fun spot in sports.
Right.
That were populated by gas bags like me and Feinbaum and that you'd be able to carve out a space where, well, that's the party. That's where the party is. And
I mean, what a genius. Marty's sitting there going, okay, what's missing here in the sports media landscape? Fun.
That's right. It's a weird place that he's found a niche. You wouldn't think that it would be a niche, but it appears to be a niche.
We should all be having more fun.
I don't understand, though, how Guillermo... First of all, I cannot impress this upon you enough. People need to start infiltrating these college game day things with Spanish signs. And we blew a golden opportunity here because the rules are different in America for Spanish language people. We get away with everything. You should see the FCC can't do anything with Spanish language radio down here, say all sorts of foul things. And there was the dirtiest sign in the history of signs that was floating out there in the sea of humanity, and it was in Spanish. And what are the chances anybody in that production truck could read it?
It was so genius how they did it, too, because they made it in the same color and font as Play Like a Champion Today, and they even had, like, the little shamrock on the bottom corner, and then as soon as they got it in, they put that UM sticker on it, and it's like, no one knows what this is.
It's the dirtiest thing in the history of college game day. On a sign. And because it was in Spanish, nobody knew it. Who's going to know it? You, Corso? You, Herb Street? You, Reese Davis?
I was in the truck for an interesting exchange because it's like the New York Stock Exchange floor. Everyone's shouting back. It's a crazy production. Those people do such an amazing job. But there was one dude in the truck that says, "Take the Pickle Rick sign. The young kids will get it." No one else in the truck gets it, but he's like apparently the guy that says... Well,
they go to him on young stuff?
Yeah, but they didn't have someone to go to on...
Go to him on young stuff?
Yes, that's right. They didn't have anyone, but yes, that is why I'm telling you people now, you Miamians, you anarchists, wherever you are on college game day, if you think no one's recognizing it in the truck when you're here, imagine if you're ever in Lincoln. Like, go ahead and put it somewhere else. You can get your signs in Spanish. Nobody will say anything because I don't understand how this is possible, but the FCC, as far as I can tell, does not regulate anything as regards to Spanish television. I think the FCC is not unlike this ESPN television truck where they're like, what are we watching? If I see Janet Jackson's nipple, no. But I'm telling you, that sign was only 50,000 times worse than that. But it was in Spanish, so you don't... Well, that sign was dirty, and it got in, and I feel like right now nobody even understands what I'm talking about except Miami. Like, not even, here is how the absence of Hispanics in media positions, you didn't see it on Deadspin or any of these young people websites either. Because why? Because nobody's speaking Spanish there either.
It's just existing in Miami group chats.
That's right, where we're all like, wait a minute, how is this renegade thing allowed to be on the air here?
Sign checkers, by the way, keep doing the exact same thing. You're doing a great job. Don't look into any of these signs.
Right.
If you don't understand it, it's good.
You realize we blew it, though. We should have been telling people all week to make signs and bring them out to UM and bring signs in Spanish. Can you imagine that? We really blew it. I mean, I hope the U is back, if for no other reason than we get more chances at this.
More opportunities to get it right.
It would appear it's coming back.
I think so. I mean, why wouldn't it come back? It set records. I mean, the games have to be good, obviously, and relevant for it to happen, but it doesn't appear that they're not going to be.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah, highest rated game day of the year. Now, a lot of that might be this was the biggest college football weekend of the year. So many great games, but I think a lot of curious people tuned in. And Miami, which is not a big college football town, really, in terms of ratings, monster rating for game day locally and the game.
How about this? This isn't going to surprise you at all, but it's funny nonetheless, Stugotz. So we go out Friday night with the Marty party. Marty Smith, we're in Coconut Grove. We're bobbing around from bar to bar. Mm-hmm. And Greg Cody came out with us, was just lapping up, eating up the fame and celebrity. But he just was all the free drinks, he was consuming them. And so he was barely standing up by the end of the night. The last time I'd seen him in this bad a shape was when I had to pull him out of a gutter in New Orleans and he slept with mashed potatoes in his hair. Like, he was a mess. Like, could barely stand up because he was drinking all the adulation and all of the free drinks, okay?
Right, yeah.
And so at some point we were telling people that was my father. They were taking pictures with Cody thinking it was Poppy. Mm-hmm. But then one of my favorite parts of the evening was when we started doing a Canes chant, right? It was, oh, and then we spelled Cody's name. C-O-T-E, Cody. And the only one who spelled it wrong, with an I, was his son, who has the same last name.
Voy a reír, voy a bailar on the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
All right, hold on here, Dano. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Monday Night Football, Jay Cutler and the Dolphins travel to Carolina to play Cam Newton and the Panthers, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN and simulcast in Spanish on ESPN2. After finally winning a World Series ring, Carlos Beltran has penned a goodbye letter to his fans in the Players' Tribune announcing his retirement. And finally, a Japanese police probe into the attempted murder of an elderly, bedridden woman, you'll realize why I'm nervous here, has reportedly led to an unlikely suspect, a stray cat. Mayuko Matsumoto's daughter found her bleeding profusely from about 20 cuts to her face on Monday at her home in a mountainous region of southern Japan. Police launched an attempted murder investigation after seeing the wounds, some of them relatively severe, according to local news. When we found her, blood covered everything above her chin. Her face was soaked in blood. I didn't know what happened. Matsumoto's daughter says her mother, who is 82 years old and reportedly unable to speak, had to receive emergency care. Police have turned their attention to the stray cats loitering around Matsumoto's house and found traces of what may be human blood on one of them. That is amazing. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. That I got Matsumoto's name right. And here's the other amazing thing about that SportsCenter. Carlos Beltran has said several times throughout his career that he wants to be a manager, and I'm thinking he's going to be the next Yankees manager. How about that? And you got a big game tonight. It's Cutler and Cam for all the marbles.
Do you think anybody is bumming more right now about what's going on in Boston than Gordon Hayward? That can't feel good, right?
Maybe LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron.
Yeah.
All right. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Who's hurting more about what's going on in Boston, Gordon Hayward or LeBron? Because I feel like LeBron, we talked about this last week, LeBron with the worst defense in the league against Kyrie with the best defense in the league, most of you are taking LeBron. I feel like, even though that poll came back otherwise.
Right, I think most people are.
I think if that series started today and you had to guess who was winning, LeBron with the worst defense in the league and Kyrie with the best defense in the league, I think most of you are still taking LeBron.
If you make it guessing, some people might take the Celtics. If you have to attach an amount of money that means something to you, I think most people would bet LeBron James.
Texter writes in, how do you do hours of Miami football on a national show and believe it's interesting and airworthy? Because my choices over time have worked out for me.
It's the highest rated game of the season.
No, but I'm just saying, regardless, I understand if they don't want me talking about a Miami game nationally for 2 or 3 segments. I get why people nationally wouldn't like that, but my way has worked out for us pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that until the very end, until it goes up in a plume of smoke because Stugotz has done something to get us all fired.
I mean, we've taught John Fox.
College football's a national talking point this Monday, right? Mm-hmm. It's that left tackle, that turnstile left tackle from Dallas.
Yeah,
there's John Fox.
They missed him, huh? It wasn't Ezekiel Elliott that they missed. They missed his hands are so make the football look so small. A texter writes in, what did the sign say at the Miami Hurricane Notre Dame game that you talked about being written in Spanish? Please don't leave us hanging. All right, how do I say this? It is the worst word for genitalia. The worst word for genitalia, sandwich. And whoever wrote the sign was all out of bread.
Se acabó el pan.
El pan. There was a worse word for genitalia in Spanish, sandwich, and they'd run out of bread. So that's what was bobbing around in the sea of Brian Kelly faces because Spanish people can get away with writing whatever they want on signs because the FCC does not have any Spanish speakers at the top, any monitoring what the Hispanics are doing.
Yeah, it's like that line in They Live where Roddy Piper's come here to chew bubblegum and kick some ass and he's all out of bubblegum.
That's right.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, but with a genitalia sandwich.
The worst word, the worst possible word for genitalia.
Do you think ESPN is going to create that position, perhaps?
Just based on what I'm saying now? No,
based on what you're saying now in Miami, maybe being back.
No, they'll wait till they get in trouble.
Okay.
And then I'll get suspended for not telling him. I'll get
inciting.
for climbing through this loophole. Look, if no one's going to check, let's inundate the place. If no one's going to check what the signs actually say when they're in a different language, I mean, let's go Mandarin. Let's go. Let's flood the marketplace with lewd jokes. I wanted to talk before we get out of here today about everything that was going on with Louis C.K. over the weekend, because it was amazing to watch. And the way that justice is climbing on the people who used to have the power has to be hugely uncomfortable to the people who have grown accustomed to having the power. But one of the things that I found interesting, and I need to preface this by saying all of the obligatory things that I think go without saying and that I've said before, but may not be obvious to some of you. Louis C.K. clearly wrong. Louis C.K. deserves the shame that comes with being that kind of wrong and deserves whatever career damage comes with being that kind of wrong. But the next step on this, where he writes an apology that's pretty clearly remorseful, and people are parsing that apology in a way that's, where's the sorry? Where's the word sorry? Like the zeal of the angry mob. Go ahead. What's up?
No, he's writing that apology because he has to write that apology. I'm sorry. Like,
you don't think he's...
I'm going to parse it as well. No.
You don't think he's remorseful?
I think it's a convenient time for him to now write the apology.
I mean, I just really don't want to do that, though. Like, he's wrong in every kind of way, but then the paragraphs and paragraphs of apology, this, I understand apologizing and feeling remorseful, but then that not being good enough either is confusing to me.
Here's where I believe there's a lot of merit to what Stugotz is talking about there. These rumors have been out about Louis C.K. for a while, and I'm pretty sure over the last 3 weeks, when the Weinstein thing came down, he's been hoping and praying a New York Times piece wouldn't come out about him.
Oh, but Mike, that would be everybody in that circumstance.
No, but he didn't come out and feel that remorse until it was officially out on him. Of course,
but that happens to all of us all the time, where we need the public backlash to realize the error of our ways. Like, that's why I understand.
No, the public backlash forces you to realize the error of your ways. It forces you. If he felt that badly about all of this, you would have done it at any point before you had to actually do it.
No, you need to feel the public shame of everyone, of strangers, of peers, to realize the error of your ways sometimes when you're bloated on ego and filled with power and have had a lot of success and are surrounded by yes men. Like, I'm not questioning that he's apologizing for this now because we all know about it. Of course. That doesn't that go without saying? That, yes, it's the public shame of this and the lost career opportunities and the realization that your career is about to go up in flames that would all incite you to write a public apology that's remorseful.
Because when you put all of that together, Dan, I am left to question the sincerity of his apology. I am.
Okay,
Career saving, all that kind of stuff, man.
All right, but Stugotz, but let me put it to you this way, because you're right. Through that prism, though, there is no right way for him to do it once the allegations become verified. Like, what he came out and said is the stories are true. He didn't deny it. He didn't do what Weinstein did. I'm not giving him any credit for the apology. I just don't see blame in the apology. Once we've arrived at the apology, I hate the parsing of the sincerity of an apology. Like, how many of us are confessing to our sins before the shame arrives? Like, that's a nice principled way to do things, but whatever your secrets are, go ahead and admit them, Stugotz, right now before the controversy gets here. Whatever your darkest secrets are, go ahead and admit them into the microphone before the controversy gets here, since we're all people
I'm an open book
who do this stuff before the scandal arrives.
It's a different situation for him because this was not a well-kept secret for him. Mm-hmm. There was ample opportunity for him to come in and get out ahead of it.
Agreed.
In this instance.
Agreed. That it could have happened before Weinstein, after Weinstein. I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is the written apology, the need to crush every syllable on how something like that, because the word sorry doesn't appear in the apology, but it was pretty clearly a remorseful apology. Like, if he's coming out, was it the first sentence? The stories you hear are true?
Yep.
That's not something that people normally do. That's not, they deny.
No, it's something people normally do when they're forced to do it. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're forced to do it. He comes out 6 months ago and says, hey, I have done some horrific things. I am truly sorry about them. Before any of this is a big story, that buys him a lot more with the public. I
don't know. What I'm saying is, no, that's where you and I disagree. I'm saying there is no buying anything with the public and with the nature of these allegations.
Kind of sounds like you're trying to tell Stugotz that he's wrong about this one.
That's a fine.
Pay that man his money.
Thanks to 101 ESPN in St. Louis for listening to us. If you ever have to travel there for a business meeting, then you should use Upside. It'll save you money on the flight, hotel, and rental. Tell them more, Stugotz.
Yep, we love Upside here. I love Upside. I have saved so much money using Upside.com. Book your next business trip at Upside.com, and I'll give you 2 of the best gifts anyone will give you this holiday season. A free pair of Bose SoundLink wireless headphones so you can have some peace and quiet on your business trip, and the gift of a better business travel experience. Only Upside monitors your business trip around the clock, proactively keeping you posted on everything from the weather in the city you're going to changing your flight home so you can adjust your meeting schedule. Have you ever experienced that level of service before on a business trip? I'm guessing you haven't. All that plus Upside has great prices for flights, hotel, and rental cars. It's so convenient. You're going to save a lot of money and get great gifts. Just book your first business trip at Upside.com and use our code Dan, and the Bose SoundLink wireless headphones are yours for free. You're welcome. That's code Dan at Upside.com to claim our gift for you. Bose SoundLink wireless headphones, just for trying Upside.com. It's just one more way Upside is looking out for you and helping to reduce the stress of business travel. Upside.com, you deserve a better business trip. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
You're listening to the sweaty Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz, let's update the polls and sprinkle in some sound from the NFL this week. And let's start with the polls.
All right. The Twitter poll is brought to you by Upside.com, giving all business travelers the gift of a better travel experience this holiday season. Check them out today at Upside.com, at Le Batard Show on Twitter. Is there anything in the world better than Dan being loud wrong? 73% of the audience said no.
Mike, can you play some sound of Ben McAdoo not liking anonymous quotes, please?
I think they're excited to go play, excited to go get back on the field when you have a setback like we did last week, and some fake news, I guess you could call it, like we had this week, some drama. I think it's good to go out and play the game you love to play.
Why is that fake news?
It's anonymous quotes.
By fake news, you're saying that you doubt that they're real.
No, I'm saying it's anonymous. No names behind it.
But anonymous is different than fake.
I'll let you define it for me then. It's anonymous.
But if there's players in your locker room who feel that way, that's still an issue, right?
It's not an issue. I'd like to help the players who have issues. It's not an issue for the team. We can handle it. We're strong.
What's better, great sex or Dan being loud wrong? 54% of the audience said Dan being loud wrong.
Mike, play some sound of Ryan Clark ripping Blake Bortles.
I hate him. Oh, wow. Sure.
Why?
Let me tell you why I hate him. Because everybody on that team deserves to win, but the quarterback. Oh. He tries to lose the game. He does his absolute best to lose the game.
I know.
I'm talking about these dudes going crazy on defense. It's Saxonville. They getting picks. Leonard Fournette back there running for his life today. You know why? Because they ain't scared you going to pass it, Jacksonville.
I said the exact same
Trey
thing.
Boston, best receiver today for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. Caught the most passes, but he on the other team.
So great. If Rick Neuheisel screams in the forest, can anyone hear it? 85% of the audience said no.
What did Charles Woodson have to say this weekend?
Don't we always have conversations about player safety? Like, you can't make the argument about player safety. Let's take Adrian Peterson, for example. A week ago, he carried the ball 37 times, and you talked about older players. But just players in general, he carried the ball 37 times, and he turns right back around and plays on the Thursday night and carries the ball probably another 20 times.
But he's playing guys that are doing the same thing.
I understand that. That doesn't make it better. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about us. This is what we did for a living, man, and we're talking about player safety. Let's protect all the players.
If Rick Neuheisel screams on CBS, can anyone hear it? 86% of the audience said no.
Keep going. Read a couple of more polls.
Okay, that means he has a better chance of being heard in the forest
That's
than
right.
he does
on CBS.
on
That's
CBS.
correct.
Best insult: idiot, moron, loon, fool, imbecile. 38% of the audience said imbecile. You were right on that one, Dan. Is Patricia faking it with a pencil behind his ear and a laminated play sheet? 87% of the audience said yes. Should we play the Dan is wrong montage every segment this show? 74% of the audience said yes.
And then you got mad at us for doing it.
Hey, you, do you want Jeb Bush? 75% of the audience said no. Is there anyone in the history of It's a Canes thing less It's a Kane thing than Jeb Bush? 73% of the audience said no.
Play some sound of Louis Riddick ripping McAdoo.
There's three tiers to leadership. There's credibility, there's competency, and then what kind of impact do you have on others? And right now, Coach McAdoo is failing in those areas.
Exactly.
And when you start pointing the finger at the players and going, look, you need to motivate yourself, you're lacking credibility because now players are sitting there looking at you like, really, dude? That's what you're saying to us now?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
He started his tenure throwing people under the bus, whether it was Odell with some of the things he was going through, the off the field or the sideline issues, or Eli Manning not playing a certain way. And he's continued to do that. The thing is, bro, you're in charge of coaching this team. You're not doing your job either. Point the finger at yourself, and now the guys will rally around you.
Is Blake Bortles going to stumble and bumble and 4 interception his way to the Super Bowl? 54% of the audience said yes.
Yes! Ryan Clark wins the weekend! We will talk to you mañana. This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Tailgate Terry. Without Tailgate Terry, you wouldn't have cold Bud Lights and 7-layer dip at every pregame. That's 56 layers per season. Just the right amount if you ask Terry. Tailgate Terry is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.